Hello, all, and welcome to our Owl About Rice parent webinar. We are pleased to have you joining us here today to learn about Rice's Center for Career Development and the resources they offer to support student career exploration. My name is David Humphrey, and I am the Assistant Director of Parent and Family Programming here at Rice. I am pleased to be joined today by two of our colleagues with Rice's Center for Career Development, who I will be introducing shortly. If you, as a parent, this is your first Owl About Rice parent webinar, thank you for being here. I would encourage you to check out the recordings of our previous webinars. We've had two in the fall semester, which are available at parents.rice.edu/webinar. If for any reason you need to step out during today's presentation, a recording of this webinar will also be available at that page as well. Again, parents.rice.edu/webinar. After our presentation, our panelists will also have time to answer your pre-submitted questions about the CCD and career exploration at Rice. If you have any questions that pop up during the presentation, please feel free to submit those through the Q&A function, where my colleagues will be assisting with gathering questions for our speakers. If we do not get to a question that you ask, please feel free to reach out afterwards to the CCD, or you can email our office, parents@rice.edu, and we'll make sure that your question gets to the right place. Without further ado, we'll go ahead and get to our presentation. I am pleased to welcome Nicole Vanden Heuvel, Associate Dean of Students and the Executive Director of our Center for Career Development. In addition to leading the CCD, Nicole is herself a Rice alumna and for at least the next 4 months, a current Rice parent with her daughter set to graduate this May. Nicole is a pivotal member of our Rice community, and we're grateful to have her with us today. Joining her is Yvette McDessie, our Director of Career Development and Counseling, so another one of our leaders in the CCD who plays a pivotal role in helping students navigate their path from college to graduation and beyond. Thank you both again so much for being here today. I will hand it off to you, Nicole, to get us started.
Thank you, David. And just shout out to David. We love working with him and the Office of Alumni Relations. And we share the same building at Huff House. If you're ever on campus, come visit. And yes, I'm a Rice alum. And my last child, my sixth child, is graduating from Rice. So I am living this dream and the stress that you all are living as well, because we want our students to find and make their place in the world. And so that's what we're all about. We have about 20 slides to show you about our services, and let's get into our agenda. And Yvette's going to be advancing our agenda for us. And we will have an opportunity. You can either put questions in the chat, as David said, or ask them at the end. So what are we going to talk about today? A pivotal thing. Before you talk about career development, you got to talk about career readiness. What is it, and why is it important for every Rice student starting freshman year to be thinking about that? What does the Center for Career Development do? As in, we call ourselves the CCD, so I'll just say that going forward. How can we help each and every student at Rice University? What do these Rice students do when they graduate? And as a parent, I love your audience because you guys do listen and you're going to pay attention, and maybe you'll go back and talk to your student. But what should your own student be doing, and how can you support them as a family member? So we'll talk about that. So let's get into, like I said, career readiness. And really, it's the foundation that drives everything. Your students are going to Rice to get a phenomenal education. You know that Rice is a premier institution. They're getting phenomenal learning, academic experience, living experiences in their colleges. And they also need to be thinking about what they're going to be doing while at Rice in terms of career readiness and after they graduate from Rice. And defining it's what you all know it to be. It's a foundation to demonstrate the requisite core competencies that our companies are looking for, that graduate schools are looking for. And it's something that every student will be building on at Rice, regardless of their path after graduation. And I mean, regardless of whether they're going to get a job at graduation or go into grad school. So, why is that important, and what does it do? Certainly, why in developing career readiness, your student is going to have a faster career progression. I'm going to define that in a second. What is that, and what are the skills we're looking for? Higher rates of career satisfaction. You all know it in your own lives. If you're happy in your job and you're happy with what you're doing, you're going to be more productive and ideally a happier person at home and in the workplace. Mentorship is very important. We'll be talking about that. Students who really are career ready, who know how to talk about it, who know how to articulate their skills, really do also garner higher salaries. And I will show you all where our students end up after graduation. So what are the career readiness competencies? We belong to NACE, the National Association of Colleges and Employers. And this is not a Rice thing. This is a university-wide, countrywide competency definition. Companies, grad students, graduate schools are looking for students who can identify what they want to do in their life. Can they articulate it? Do they have critical thinking and problem solving skills? What kind of leadership ability and competencies do they have? Are they professional? Can you imagine? Yes, that is a career competency. We need our students to be ethical, to show up professionally, to show up on to work, do the job that the company is asking them to do. Are they a team player? And of course, technology and AI, that goes without saying. But where is career readiness? It is everywhere. Students tend to think, oh, I'm going to get this career readiness stuff at going to the CCD. No, your students are getting it in their class projects, doing an internship, doing research on campus or off campus, all the service learning, the volunteer opportunities, the Al Edge externships. I'll talk about that in a minute. The on-campus jobs, study abroad, student leadership, and everything else. And we, as the central office, are helping your student identify what those career competencies are, and then more importantly, how do you articulate what those career competencies are? We want to give them the confidence to do so. So, how do we help your student get career ready? And these are really the three pillars that the CCD operates by. We want to educate, connect, and empower each and every student. Educate. We want to help each student understand what do they want to do? What are their goals? What skill sets do they have to offer? How can they articulate that? We want to connect them with the vast network of opportunities at Rice, outside of Rice, and worldwide. And our office is the hub. It all happens here with the benefits and the collaboration of all of our campus partners. But we are the hub. And why do I have the word empower in there? Because it's not enough just to say, I go to Rice, I must be smart, hire me. No, does the student have the confidence to get out there and network, to articulate their skills, to put themselves out there and confidently talk about what they're good at and what they're looking for, and why are they a good fit for either that company or the graduate program that they're applying to. So here's our team. I always think it's nice just to see the faces behind the team. We're a team of 15, and Yvette manages our career counseling team, and Agustina Fernandez Moja, she handles our employer relations team. So we're two teams because we meet with students, and I'll tell you how we do that and all the programs and services we offer for your student. But also we need to bring in companies. We need to attract opportunities for companies to hire, recruit, and train our Rice students. As a summary, our office is a centralized office, and it's a good thing because we're a one-stop shop for the students and we're a one-stop shop for employers. So employers are not having to go to the School of Engineering or the Natural Sciences to figure out, hey, I want to hire this subset of students. So we handle all that relationships and all the logistics, and there's a lot of logistics in getting employers on campus to recruit on our employer engagement team. And we work with all students, as I said, yes, starting freshman year. We work with grad students, the masters, PhDs, and alumni. So alumni are allowed to come back, and we encourage them to come back and use our services. Everything happens on our platform, and it's called 1220. It's our recruiting and employment platform. It's the hub for everything. It's where students will go to search for jobs and internships, make an appointment online. They don't even have to pick up the phone to call to schedule an appointment. They can do it online 24/7. It's where we show all of our workshops. Students can sign up for them there. All the employer events that we sponsor are on 1220. We've got a robust resource library. And then we also have data. We can show students where are our other Rice students going? And if somebody's going to XYZ company, if we have enough data in there, the student can see what's the hiring timeline? When does this company hire for internships and jobs? What's the average starting salary for this company? So there is also real live data in here that students can access. The portal looks a little bit like what it looks like on the Rice on the right side. All students are automatically in 1220. And then we encourage them to go and fill out their profile like you would with LinkedIn. It's very intuitive, very easy, and it's all right there. So, what are our career development resources? Tons. I could spend the entire time on this, but I'm not going to. Obviously, our students can have one-on-one appointments. We also have drop-in hours every day of the week, every work day of the week. And students can make an appointment to talk about anything you're thinking of. Resume, mock interviews. How do I write a cover letter? How do I find an internship and a job? How do I negotiate my starting salary? Can I negotiate my starting salary? Who are some of the contacts that I should get in touch with? How do I do networking? And then we complement that with a lot of workshops and lots of different ways for students to learn about the technical side, if you will. I'll show you a sample later on of what does our January calendar look like. We also have I just wanted to say we also have peer career advisors, and these are our students who actually are trained to help do resume reviews. We've got lots of career assessments. Students come in and a lot of them are thinking, I really don't know what I want to do. I don't know what I want to major in. Thank you. I love it. Please come see us. Rice students always feel like they have to have an answer because they did so well in high school. They have to have an answer for everything. No, they really don't. And a lot of Rice students change their major throughout college. That's very normal. A lot of them are still trying to figure it out. We also have a career closet and lots of resources. We have lovely, gently used professional attire that we make available and we just give to the students. And all of our workshops are conducted at Huff House in our office here on campus. And I'll tell you a little bit about some of the other resources we have. Okay, so how can students connect with employers? The same way they can get a lot of career development and resources, we have lots of ways for students to connect with alumni and employers. I will go later on and talk to you about our ALEDGE externship program. It's a very cool information gathering, job search kind of program. We do at least 5 career expos a year. We've got a fall career expo, a spring career expo coming up. We've got the startup fair. We've got the Texas job fair. So there are lots of those are traditional ways a lot of you parents know about that. But also we have career nights. We will have a career night, for example, oh, you're interested in investment banking, you're interested in consulting, you're interested in biotech, you're interested in working in the nonprofit field. So we will provide those kinds of opportunities that are more focused in those industries or job functions. We also will take students on career treks to actually visit companies around the Houston area. And we've done them in the field of energy, sustainability, biotech, for example, nonprofit, startups, companies that have rotational leadership programs. This spring, we're going to be doing one for arts and entertainment. And then naturally, companies still do like to come on campus and do information sessions and panels. So many ways, again, as I said, for companies to recruit. A lot of them also like to do what they call coffee chats, kind of informal coffee sessions and for students just to come and casually network with a company. And then we've got a lot of career clubs on campus. So if your child, your student is interested in a particular area, chances are there is a club, student run club that is in that area. And we work very closely with the student clubs, consulting, investment banking, sustainability, etc. And then we have the Ask an Al program that we partner with David's office. It's a very cool program. And take a note of that. Take a note of that website address. And a student can go in and it's a very low lift. They can put in a question and then the program will connect them with several alum and they can make that connection very easy, deciding on whatever the topic is. So it's this program is populated with alums like myself that are in there and willing to help a student. Okay, ALEDGE externships, I mentioned that to you. We are so proud of this program. Every year, just think about it as a short-term job shadowing experience. And every year we have Rice friends, recruiters, alums, parents, thank you. If you're interested in hosting a student, please sign up. We'll show you how to do it afterwards. It's a low lift for the host and a easy, non-stressful way for a student to connect with an employer or a host. And we do it formally over winter break and over spring break. Over winter break, we had over 500 students participate and over 200 hosts. We've got over 300 hosts participating for spring break this time. Applications are still open, and all we require for the student is say, look at all these externships. Tell us which ones you want to sign up for. And students can sign up for as many as they want. All we ask is a short resume, a short paragraph. Why are you interested? And then we do the matching. And it's a phenomenal way to get connections. And some of these internships, some of these externships actually end up being an internship because the student has just wowed the host. So it's a pretty cool low lift way for everybody. You need to be asking your student about the ALEDGE externship. Okay. Okay, I just want to give you a quick look-see. Here's what's coming up in January. This is what is happening. What's today? The 14th. Okay, tomorrow we've got a resume workshop. Every year we do a welcome back to the students, and here we are, people. Meet us, and we make it fun and easy. It'll be tomorrow, Friday, outside of Valhalla. I talked to you about the ALEDGE externship, so we have an information session. Students can come and learn about that. Internship and job search workshop. We've got a whole night devoted to marketing careers. Expo prep workshop. We've got the startup job and internship fair at the end of January. The career closet, where we open up our career closet for students to get free professional attire. And then resumes. Yes, people, resume is still the entry point. Students still have to have a perfect resume. So, and with AI now and all these applicant tracking systems, now it's more important than ever that resumes really be in the proper format. And all these students see it in 1220, but your student receives a newsletter every Monday. So when they say, I don't know what's going on, you can ask them, have you read the CCD newsletter? They get it. They don't sign up for it. They get it from us, and they could RSVP in 1220. Okay, let's talk about kind of some of the things I think you're interested in. Where do our students go at graduation? So this is a combination of class of 2024, 2025 undergraduates. And typically the trend pretty much is the same year in and year out. It's about 60% of our students will end up in full-time employment and about 40% go on to grad school. We do have a pretty good knowledge rate, 98%. We always love to find out what are your salaries. Let me show you going forward what the salaries are. And I think I'm throwing it over to Yvette after this one. So our salaries are Again, the average and the median salary and the industry and the job function. I don't think this is too surprising for everybody, but technology, finance, consulting, energy, manufacturing, education, media, healthcare, nonprofits. We're the fourth largest city in the United States. It's good to be in a big city because we have a lot of companies who want to recruit and recruit our students. But Yvette will show you not everybody ends up in Texas. Our students come from all over the place. They end up all over the place. Go ahead, Yvette.
All right, so you're probably wondering who hires Rice Owls, and it's pretty much anyone you can think of, many different types of employers, from some large employers that you might recognize their names and logos, to some smaller employers, depending on the areas that students are interested in going to. For example, Nicole mentioned earlier, there's a startup career fair. Some students want to go into the startup world. And so it really varies. This is just the employers that have hired 4 or more of the class of 2024 and 2025 bachelor's level graduates from Rice. And so you'll hopefully recognize some of those names. But if you don't, if there's an employer that your student is interested in that's not here, we are also very proactive about engaging those employers. And there are different ways that the employers want to engage and recruit those students. So don't let this dissuade them from still reaching out and engaging with us and with those employers as well. Where do they go for continuing education or graduate school? We always have about 40%, to what Nicole said earlier, go to continuing education, whether that's getting an MD, a JD, PhD, a master's, it'll vary. And so these are the schools that hired 6 or more of the class of 2024 and 2025. That's why they're here, but there's many, many more also. And to Nicole's point, also, students have access to this information on their 1220 research tools, so they can dig deeper into all of this. This is more of a sampling for all of you to understand a bit of where everyone's going, but there's a lot more granular data that students have access to dig into in their research tools in 1220, and we encourage them to do that as well. Now, where are they going? They go all over the world, but if you're looking into the US, these are the top metropolitan areas that students have gone from the 2 most recent classes. And you can see there's a fair amount that stay in the area, but also a good amount that leave and go to all the coasts. Certain industries are more represented in certain coasts. And so depending on the area that your student wants to pursue, that might also influence what part of the world or the country that they want to move to. And we're here to help them and support them along the way, whether they're wanting to do a US search or another country search. We have resources for all of that as well. Now, how are these students getting there? They're definitely leveraging their resources. So we want to make sure all of your students are leveraging their resources. There are sometimes a little bit too many resources, and they don't have to know exactly which resource is helpful for them. That's why we're here. We meet with students in person and virtually, and we're happy to walk them through what some resources that are most relevant to them are. And if they're not within our office, we also do a lot of connecting to other offices and resources across the university and beyond as well. Networking is very important, connecting with other humans, especially in this day of technology. Human connection is even more valuable than ever before. And we do a lot of preparation and help with how do I go about networking. We have regular workshops on that. We also have plenty of opportunities for students to actually network, to tap into their Rice network. Some of them have already been mentioned, and there are plenty more depending on the areas that they're interested in. There's a wealth of opportunities for students to dig into that, and we also will help walk them through the easier ways for them to start doing that and to practice that are most aligned with their interests. And seeing firsthand is seeing is believing, right? So gaining experience, seeing firsthand on the ground, doing the job, gaining some kind of experiential learning projects, whether it's through course projects or through a job shadowing like an externship, through a research opportunity, on-campus job, many other opportunities, internships, other opportunities for them to gain that experience and to communicate that experience. They're very key in successful student outcomes and students reaching and meeting their goals where they want to go. So what do we ask you to do with your student? Maybe here's a short, quick checklist. Check with them, have they completed their 1220 profile? And if they completed it freshman year and haven't touched it in a couple years, it might be a good time to refresh it. So refreshing is also important. Have they attended or engaged in a workshop to help them in their career development process and their career know-how? Have they attended a networking event or met with or engaged with employers? And have they started developing a job and internship search strategy that's going to work best for them? And if they're not looking to continue for employment and they want to go to graduate school, then have they developed a grad school continuing education plan for or a strategy that will work for them? And if they've applied for an OWL externship or are participating in job shadowing, those can be very low lift ways for students to see and gain experience without doing the full commitment to confirm their interests and to help them better identify what the reality of those opportunities entails. So they can also be more competitive for when they are applying for those opportunities. That's a little bit about us and some of the offerings that we have here for your students. We say students, but we work with students and alumni, so no pressure. Your students will also have access to all of these resources as alums. But the earlier they engage with us, the better it is for them, and the more they will be making in the future, according to the research studies. So we are here and happy to help them at any point. And one more thing we didn't mention is that we are open throughout the breaks also. So we open as long as the university is open through the winter break, the summer break, the spring break. So sometimes students in the middle of the semester, they might feel a little overwhelmed and they want to wait till those breaks. No pressure. We're also here for those moments as well. And now I'll pass it back to David.
We got some good questions. We got also 5 questions in the chat, so we'll see if we can get to that.
Great. I
Yes.
think we'll move over to the Q&A now.
Absolutely, yes. Thank you, Yvette and Nicole. We'll jump right in to one of our pre-submitted questions. A parent had seen that there were some upcoming job fairs, like you all had mentioned. Can you share about some of the ways that you help students prepare for these job fairs, whether it's like how their mindset should be going in, and then also the tangible, such as bringing resumes, dressing accordingly?
Okay, I'll start it. Yvette, chime in if you want. So ideally, you all saw some of the resources that we shared on the website, and I'm looking again at our schedule. January is a busy month, and we want students to come. We're going to have a resume where students can come and get their resume reviewed. Again, as I said, that's key. You have to have a good resume. And even starting freshman year, yes, do freshmen get internships? Yes, freshmen can get internships. It's harder, okay? They have to work at it because a lot of companies are looking to hire maybe sophomores and juniors on the internship side, but that's where the preparation comes in. That's where meeting us. We've got a resume workshop tomorrow. And again, it's all in 1220. And like I said, the Career Expo is on February the 6th. Did I answer that question, Yvette? Anything else we want to add to that?
Yes, one more thing I'm going to share in the chat is that students have access to an asynchronous resource library within their 1220 platform that has resources as well as checklists for making sure that their resumes, their elevator pitches, their expo preparation, what are some elements they need to prepare for, and check off the list to be ready to go. All of those resources can be found easily online as well. And so I'll drop the links. The 1220 resource library, the students only can access it. They have to log in with their NetID, but we have some resources available on our public facing website. I'll also drop that link so you can reference back if you're curious to see some of those resources as well.
And all of our workshops are at noon, and usually at Huff House. We do them at noon because, you know, students all have different schedules, but students have to eat, got to have lunch. So we provide pizza, and you eat and learn over the workshop at Huff House. And they don't have to sign up way in advance. They can even show up the day of. Okay, we want to encourage, we just want them to feel confident to come in, and you guys can see us. We're not scary people. I've got really relatable, kind counselors that want to help every student.
I can attest personally to the workshops, having smelled the aroma of pizza for each of those, having shared
It's
the
basic,
building.
but it gets the job done.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you all for addressing that question. We had a couple of questions about specifically for the first year student experience, since it can sometimes be daunting or challenging to approach finding out what they're going to do during the summer, be that an internship, an experiential learning opportunity. So can you all share any thoughts, one on for students in their first year to help kind of increase their odds at landing a potential internship? And then 2, how freshmen can understand various experiential learning opportunities available at Rice, whether that is research, an on-campus job, or something else along those lines.
Okay, cool. I'll start again, Yvette, you chime in. First of all the on-campus jobs are posted in 1220. Remember I said 1220 is one-stop shop? We really try to make it easy for the students. So departments that are hiring across campus are posting those opportunities in 1220. And how does a student make, especially a freshman, make themselves appealing to get an internship or an externship? First of all, do encourage every single one of your students to apply for these externships. I think we had a question, does everybody get matched? Everybody gets matched. And if we will have some companies where there's so much interest, we'll go back to the company and say, can you just take a few more? It's very relationship driven. We know all these hosts, and we try to make sure every student who applies, every student is going to be guaranteed at least one externship. So, and again, like I said, they don't need to have a stress out about submitting their resume and making sure for that the resume is perfect. We're just looking at it right now. But when they're applying formally to jobs and internships, they do have to have a really strong resume. I don't know if I answered that, Yvette.
One thing that can be helpful for them is to make sure that they've updated their resume. So there's a difference between a high school resume and a college resume. We have a lot of resources to help with that, as well as regular programming that helps reiterate and review those documents. And that in those documents, they are, whether it's if it's for research or academia, it's a CV instead of a resume. But regardless, either way, they want to make sure that they are communicating where they already have gained some relevant experiences and some skills. So that could be through their coursework, that could be through their clubs or volunteering, making sure they're telling the story, that they have the skills relevant for securing those opportunities. And depending on the areas of interest of their student, of your student, you want to double check, or they want to double check, because some industries recruit differently. Some might post their postings during certain times of the year and maybe not during other times of the year. Some might not even post postings and might do more networking based recruiting. And so that's where we would encourage them to learn more about the industries they want to connect with, those opportunities or experiential learning opportunities that are available for those industries, and be prepared for when those recruiting timelines pop up that are most relevant, because that's a challenge when certain industries only recruit during certain times of the year. If you're not searching in that time, you might miss out on the opportunities that you're most interested in.
All right. Well, thank you all for answering that as well. I found it interesting during the presentation, kind of seeing the different places where our owls will end up. And obviously, we have owls who will come in from all across the states and across the world. So we had a couple of questions about how the CCD helps navigate opportunities for students who are coming further from Rice's campus. I want to see if either of y'all could address if there's like specific nuances in the counseling approach for students who are coming from out of state. And then with international students, obviously kind of having different guidelines that they need to approach as well, if there are additional ways that you support international students in their pursuit of those additional opportunities.
Yes, great question. So our career counseling approach at the CCD is to meet every student where they are at and to help them better understand where do they want to go, to be able to communicate that, and then to create a plan of action that relates to that. And so depending on where they're coming from, where they want to be, maybe they're coming from a certain place, but they're really wanting to do an internship in another place to test out if they would ever want to move there, for example. Or maybe they're here, they're coming from somewhere else, and they want to do an opportunity in another country, for example. We have different tools and resources to help in exploring what is available in those places, what are the best ways to secure those opportunities, and also how do I reach Rice alumni who are in those places and spaces and locations, who can help me better understand what their transition might have been like, some challenges, some things to help better identify if that's going to be the right move for them, and to help them if they do move there. We've had alums help with things from housing advice and recommendations to what I wish I had known before I moved here. So we have a number of different resources for different cities, different states, different countries. And we do programming. When you're asking about international students, we do work very closely with our Office of International Students and Scholars. And we support each other and help each other to make sure that our students and our international students have the resources and are up to date with the opportunities available for them that are in compliance with their visa. So staying in compliance with your visa is number one. But then also understanding based on your visa and where you want to go in the industries and the major you're studying training and how much time you're allowed to be in certain places for that. We work with the office as well as providing programming throughout the year to help educate the students and sharing out additional resources to help them. And that's through programming, through communications, but we will also work definitely one-on-one with your student and help them identify what's going to be the best path forward for them in their unique situation.
All right, thank you, Yvette. We have received a couple of questions from parents who have students who have majors that they're still kind of figuring out what they look like. So there was one parent who said they have a freshman mechanical engineering major, has no idea what they want to do with their degree. What do you think would be some of the steps for getting started on that journey? Then we also had another parent who asked about whether there are advisors in the specific schools of study themselves, and what tips you may have for helping them navigate that as far as it goes for pursuing career opportunities.
Okay, great question. Couple questions in one. Great question. So the first thing that we recommend for your student is make an appointment to visit with one of our career counselors. Again, it's very, very easy. They go in at 12:20 and there's a slot that says appointments. And then there's a drop-down menu, and then the student can figure out, based on my schedule, this is what works for me, and then they can see availability. I will say this, parents, we are an office of 15 people and we serve over 8,000 students. So we serve all undergrads, masters, and PhDs and alums. So you can do the math pretty quickly. So my point is, have the student get an appointment on the calendar. A lot of times when we want to go see a doctor, it takes a couple of weeks maybe to go visit with a doctor. It's the same thing with us. Encourage them to get the appointment at least on the calendar. And we can meet the student virtually, via Zoom, or in person. So we really try to make it easy for the student to connect with us either way. And my whole team is very friendly, very professional, very approachable. We're here because we're passionate about helping students. We do not have, right now, we do not have specified an engineering career counselor. Everybody in my office is a generalist because everybody also knows how to advise in all the different areas. We have to be generalists, but we can advise. A student wants to go to marketing or nonprofit versus working in engineering. We know how to advise that student. And again, a lot of it is also empowering the student, helping them feel comfortable, also connecting them. Look at me, I've been around a long time. I have a lot of connections and I make those connections all the time. And I'll say this to you parents, if you have a LinkedIn profile, feel free to connect with me in LinkedIn. I love meeting new people in LinkedIn. I make a lot of connections. I help students get connected through LinkedIn. Just put in the note that you sat through this webinar, but I'd be more than delighted to be connected with you. Networking is very, very important. It's uncomfortable for students. It's uncomfortable for adults like us. We get it, but we help the student figure out that process. And we have a lot of companies who are coming back on campus. COVID's done now. Companies really do want that in-person opportunity, that in-person experience. We tell our students, the companies are spending time and money to come to campus. That's an easy win. Why go and do LinkedIn job searching when you can talk to a company that's physically coming on campus, that physically wants to recruit Rice students? You have to kind of take advantage of it.
I want to add a couple of points to what Nicole's saying as well on this topic. So every member of the career counseling team has years of experience working with students just like your student. And in the US, you really can change your major pretty much up to graduation. And it's encouraged to use your time in college to explore different majors. So we have many different students who have cross-disciplinary interests. They might major in one school and minor in another school, or major in multiple schools. We're here to work with them on identifying what's going to be the best and make the most sense for them. And Rice is so flexible that students can even create their own major if they really feel so inclined. But we realize that there are different opportunities for them to be exploring. We want to encourage them to explore And the earlier they explore, the better, because that gives them more time to maximize that exploration time throughout college. That being said, we also realize that a lot of these students come from being the top in their class, and they are still top, but there are many other people who are also top and are communicating that they know exactly what they want to do. So there's sometimes that unintended pressure of having everything figured out. We're here to work with your student to help meet them where they're at in terms of understanding what is it about what they're curious about that they don't know yet that will help confirm their interests. Whether it could be, what can I do with this major? Or I'm really interested in this area. I'm not sure what I should major in to get there. So we do have career exploration appointments specifically targeted at that. We also work with the Office of Academic Advising, and the divisional advisors, major advisors also love to share insights from their experience about students who pursued those majors. So depending on the kind of information your student is looking for, we're happy to connect with them and identify where is going to be the best place for them to start confirming their interests, as well as share some of those assessments and resources that Nicole mentioned earlier that can be really helpful in their career exploration process. But recognizing that it's a process, it's not a one and done, and things can change, and that's okay. We're here to change with them and help them figure it out along the way.
Somebody asked, sorry, are there ALEG externships during the summer also? No, they're not. And we don't have that formal program. But if your child came in and said, listen, I'm really interested in connecting with somebody in, Silicon Valley, and can you help me? We're gonna help your student figure out how to connect with maybe a Rice alum, maybe a recruiter. There's not one way to get a job and an internship. There's so many different paths, and you all know this as professionals, and think about your own careers and how you got your own job. I do want to emphasize, though, that companies also have defined hiring timelines. Okay. And that's not something that we can control. So the engineering, investment banking, consulting, it's heavy recruiting in the fall. Nonprofits, maybe research, arts, entertainment, that is more flexible in the spring. So we want to help your student understand too that we can't control those hiring timelines. So we want the student to understand, and we also show that in 1220. You can see, oh, XYZ company, this is typically when they hire and come on campus to interview and that kind of thing.
All right. Thank you, Nicole. I do think
I love this question. Wait, I love
Yes,
this
go
question.
ahead.
If my student feels he does not have any questions to ask the CCD and so has not scheduled a time to come in so far, do I let that go or push him to go anyway? Love that question. Yes. And oh, that's such a great question, because a lot of students feel like they have to have an agenda to come talk to us. No, you don't have to an agenda. Come to us and say, okay, I'm a freshman, I'm a sophomore, I'm majoring in XYZ. I have no idea what I want to do, or I have an idea what I want to do. Can I talk to you about it? Let's have a conversation about it. It's not a therapy session. We're here, we meet the student where they're at. So yes, have your son come in and say, okay, I made an appointment with you. My parents forced me, whatever. And I'm here. What should we talk about? Don't worry, we'll take it from there. We will get to know your student. There's always something that we can help share and help build that confidence for your son. And let me tell you, everybody needs help. Everybody needs that kind of the professional push. We are the experts. We are here to help the student. I also want to say one thing. Coming to the CCD is not mandatory. It's not a requirement. So it is incumbent on your student to kind of take the initiative. We are out there. We have a newsletter. And no, the newsletter is not published. And sorry, parents don't have access to the newsletter. Ask your child to share the newsletter with you that they get every Monday. But we are here, like I said, to help your student wherever they are in their professional development process. We've talked a lot about jobs and internships. Students also are thinking about, do I want to go to grad school? My own daughter, who's a senior now, is studying biology and sciences, and she wants to go to grad school, but she wants to work first to see if grad school is the right fit for her. And I'm thankful that she's coming to talk to me. But So we're going to help her to figure out what is that next path? What should she be thinking about?
All right. We've received a few questions, again, kind of focusing on the major specific connections. So there was one of our pre-submitted questions asked if there are specific alumni groups in certain industries that students can connect with. So if you can share a little bit about the alumni resources, perhaps like that Ask an Owl, how that works with connecting people with their specific areas of interest. Then also a question about the different splits of who is represented at job fairs, whether there are some that are kind of more focused on the humanities, some that are more focused on the business world or the sciences. If you can just kind of share what those resources look like.
Good. I'll let Yvette take it since I'm doing all the talking. Go ahead, Yvette. We love talking about Ask an Owl.
We do love talking about human connections and different ways that students can be connecting with alumni and employers who are in those industries and want to connect and share more. Ask an Owl is a really cool tool where students just put in whatever information they want to learn more about in their message. That message gets sent out to multiple alumni, and the alumni that want to reply back and feel like they have something to contribute to that will respond back directly to your students. So it's a very low lift way for students to connect with people who really want to help them and have something of value to connect and help them with. Why would alums want to help? Well, when you help others, you feel better. Maybe someone helped you and you want to pay it back. Maybe you wish someone helped you and you want to pay it forward. There's a long list of reasons why alumni want to help. But Rice alumni specifically are very famous for wanting to help other Rice Owls throughout their career exploration process. And so even if they don't have exactly the right type of field that your student is interested in, they might have friends there and they can make those introductions, and they often do help with that. So the one thing we encourage when students are reaching out is that they make sure if they get a response back that they reply back thoughtfully, quickly, so they can keep that relationship going. That can easily become into a mentorship if they want to. Really, it's the ball there is on your student, how much they want to get more information, connect with those alums. So that's a low lift way to connect thoughtfully with people of interest. But we also have programming regularly. Every month we have a LinkedIn or Left Out session that we facilitate at the CCD during the lunchtime. All of our workshops are from the 12:15 to 1 o'clock session during their lunchtime. We do provide pizza and water if they want to come and eat there, or some students will go grab their lunch from their servers and come. And in this session, we'll also show students how they can find Rice alumni on LinkedIn. There's a directory of close to 70,000 Rice alumni, and they can search by where they work, where they live, what they do, how they're connected, see their digital resume through their profile, and then connect with them. And we'll walk them through how to do all of that. So there's a number of different ways to engage. There are also regional alumni groups in different parts of the country and different parts of the world, and those are also if your owl is from a certain region or wanting to go to a certain region, those can also be very helpful ways to connect with alumni who want to give back. So there's a number of ways, and depending on what your student is wanting, we're happy to help them identify, okay, let me start here, and then maybe in the future I might tap to this other resource, right? It's always better for them not to start with a whole long laundry list of things they want to do to connect with alums, but to identify one easy place. And the easiest place right now for them is Ask an Owl, but depending on what kind of information they're wanting, we're happy to help them identify other ways to connect as well.
All right. We received a good question from a parent who said their student is considering a double major, but logistically wouldn't be possible to do in 4 years due to the difference in the majors kind of being in various fields. So I had a question about which office they would go to for advice on how to specialize in multiple fields, whether that would be y'all or some more of the advisors in their specific schools.
Okay, I'll start off with that. A lot of our Rice students do like to double, triple major, major and minor and that kind of thing. My first question to the student is, why do you want to double major? Okay. When we ask our companies, and if your student is interested in going off and getting a job afterwards, when we ask our companies, how important is it when you're considering a student to see a double or triple major? Doesn't make the top list. So if your student is really interested in the double major, probe why. What are you trying to get out of it? Secondly, we do have the Office of Academic Advising, and that's the great office for your student to go to talk about their course program, what are the credits they need, all that technical stuff that we let the Office of Academic Advising do. But you want to encourage your student. Career exploration, also be broad in thinking about your own education at Rice. Companies are looking for people who can think, communicate well, have good problem solving skills. And basically, listen, I always tell students, number one, check the box student. Companies know you're smart, okay? You don't have to prove that, okay? Because you got into Rice. It's so hard to get into Rice. So companies are knowing when they come to Rice, they are recruiting strong Rice talent. You don't have to prove that to a company. You do have to prove that you've got strong communication, interpersonal, problem solving, all those less, if you want to say, tangible skills. And that's sometimes harder for a student to learn how to articulate. We know what a mechanical engineering degree does. Companies know what that is. What do you want to do with it? What do you want to do with your fantastic degree in English and history? Companies love humanities, social science majors as well. So don't limit the major and think that's not going to get me the job. You will get a job if you do the different kinds of skills and taking advantage of all the resources.
All right, thank you. We have received a few questions about the externship program, so wanted to see if we could address some of those. We had addressed that they typically don't take place during the summer, though there may be other summer opportunities for students to explore. Can y'all share a little bit about the typical duration of these externships, the amount of students that are able to be accepted into the externship programs based on applications? And then maybe some tips for students who may have applied for an externship in the winter but not gotten it, so how they can increase their chances for a future externship.
Okay, I'll start off by just saying externships vary. Sometimes it's, hey, it's an information session. Sometimes it's, let's grab lunch. I just talked to a student yesterday who went to California for an externship. This also is a plug for me to say, we do have a summer experience fund. Sadly, not all internships are paid. Sometimes in media, nonprofit, marketing, some of those internships are not paid. We have a select and a limited, but we do have a summer experience fund. A student can apply, and depending upon what their budget is and the value of the externship, if it's unpaid or underpaid, we can help fund the difference. So students can get up to $6,000 for a summer experience fund if it qualifies. But going back to the externship question, it varies in terms of length. Sometimes it's a couple hours. Sometimes it may be a whole day. Some of these externships that are out in California are longer. It just depends on what the host wants to do. And like I said earlier, we really try to guarantee that every student who applies is going to get some kind of externship. Maybe they don't get their number one choice, but they will get an externship. Sometimes what I don't like to end up is we will have sometimes several hosts that aren't matched. I don't like that. I want every host who's willing to give their time to get a Rice student interested in talking to them. So we do really try to guarantee that every student who applies for an externship will get an externship. Anything to add, Yvette?
So if your student, for whatever reason, wants an externship, which is a job shadow, that's not within the winter or spring break program, to Nicole's point earlier, we're also happy to work with them to help them identify where and how to begin that. And the link I added in the chat that has the more information on Ask an Owl and connecting alumni also has a guide to informational interviewing, which can be really helpful for students who want to do some of those job shadowings to learn more about people's opportunities, what they're doing, where they're working, what that looks like. So it doesn't have to be limited to just the externship program to have a job shadow, and it can be done at any point in the year. No pressure there. So we're happy to work with your student also to identify and set up their own job shadowing program outside of the externship program.
Companies, and yes, and I see a good question about companies that are coming to Expo. We're still working on that. In the fall Expo is more, it's busier because a lot of companies are recruiting in the fall. And a lot of who are those companies? Those are companies that have defined budgets, defined hiring plans that know they need to recruit now to hire for the spring. In the fall, we have a 2-day expo. So we have the technology and engineering on day one, and then business, art, sciences on the next day. We have to say this, and I also want to remind you, parents, companies recruit very differently. So when companies are coming to Rice, they're spending time and money to come on campus and recruit. And just because we tell students, just because the company is not at the Career Expo, does not mean they're not interested in recruiting students. Companies recruit in some companies post, all they do is post jobs. And that's like, for example, Microsoft. They do not come on campus. They don't have to. They've got the brand everywhere. Everybody wants to work for them. But they are one of our top employers because they will post the job and they know Rice is a really strong school. Companies will come and recruit. Some companies only come and do information sessions. Some companies only come to the Career Expo. So students do have to be aware of what's the hiring cycle, who's coming, and understand that companies recruit very differently.
I will
Right.
All
also
right.
add there's like black and white in the job search process. And there's a lot of gray, and Rice students tend to excel in the gray. So even if an employer might say, I don't recruit for X, they might make exceptions for Rice students in some cases, or maybe they might have some hiring timelines, but they might still make exceptions for some students in some cases. So I wouldn't let that be a limiting factor for your student. I would encourage them if there's something that they're interested in that they think they missed the boat on, would encourage them to connect with us and let us know because there might be other ways to get through some side doors that might help. Because sometimes companies might publish something on their website about their hiring norms, but then they might make exceptions for Rice. For example, Rice is one of the target schools for many different employers. And so sometimes what they might find online might not actually be as applicable to their particular case as they might think. So that's where we're here to help them navigate the gray waters and help them position themselves for success, whether it's outside of the hiring timeline. I know that was one of the questions. We've gotten a lot of students who do secure opportunities outside of traditional hiring timelines, but I did also add in the chat the hiring timeline so you can get a bird's eye view of when the highest volume of those opportunities are posted. It doesn't mean that you won't find those opportunities at other times in the year. It just means that the volume of those opportunities tends to be more populated during those times of the years.
All right. Well, we are getting to the end of our hour, but I think that is a good place to wrap. I'm just kind of in reminding you as parents that your students, by virtue of being accepted to Rice, are individuals that these companies will highly seek after. And we definitely are appreciative of everything that our Center for Career Development does in helping to make those connections and helping them use their skills to forge a future. So thank you again so much to our panelists for joining us today. Yvette and Nicole, you've been very helpful and grateful for everything that you do to help our students, as well as for taking this time to share the information with us. Thank you also to our parents for being here, for attending and submitting your great questions to stimulate this conversation. I know there's a number of questions we did not get to. We highly encourage you to contact the CCD at ccd@rice.edu. Or if you have another question that may not be specifically for the CCD, you can also email our office, which is parents@rice.edu, and we'll make sure that your question gets to the right place. As a reminder, if you had to come in early or come in after a little bit of the time of this presentation, this full recording will be made available on our parents website at parents.rice.edu/webinar. So you'll be able to view this and previous webinar recordings, as well as see some information about future webinars. Thank you all so much again for being here today. Have a great rest of your day and go Owls.
Thank you. Thanks, David.